Perimenopause has been quite a joyride. I've had hot flashes, I've had weight gain, I've had mood swings. I'm trying to adapt as gracefully and elegantly as I can. You know, I actually do. I don't think you forget these things. These are all these sort of moments in your life that stick with you, that stay with you. I was with this girlfriend of mine and she was a few years older, so obviously she had already gotten her cycle, she had started her cycle. And when I told her I got my cycle, she was really surprised because she thought I was too young. I was 13, you know, and back then 13 seemed like, wow, too young. And now we hear about girls that get their cycles as early as, what, 8 sometimes? I feel, you know, it comes too soon these days. Perhaps it's in our country. I don't think there is enough information out there for kids. I remember when I was in school and what was taught to us or briefly touched upon when it came to sex education, hygiene, safety, all the things that we need to know as girls and young women stepping into the world. There isn't enough information, there isn't enough support, there aren't enough people educating young girls, teaching them about their bodies, teaching them about safety, teaching them about, you know, all the various things there are available out there that you need to be careful about infections, about diseases, about, you know, well, also I think to a large extent removing the taboo or the stigma that comes with this sort of, you know, oh, you got your periods, you can't eat, you can't do this, you can't go there, you can't go to the temple, you can't go to the mall. You know, it's a lot of that stuff that needs to go away, I feel. I think I may have been one of the really lucky ones. I had a regular flow, I had a regular cycle, I was never off by even a day, so I always knew when I was going to expect it. But of course back then I think I made many mistakes because of modeling and because of the clothes that you have to wear. Sometimes wearing a napkin may not be the best thing, which meant that I would use a tampon pretty much for the entire duration of my cycle for that period of time because I would need to. In hindsight now, when I think and I read about all the things and ingredients that go into making a tampon, which is actually inserted inside your body and it just stays there and releases so many toxins, it's very scary. It's extremely scary. Had I known all these things back then, of course, I would have taken a better call on it, used it only when absolutely necessary, you know. But having said that, I was lucky. I didn't have as many issues about my cycle, but I do know some really close friends of mine who struggled immensely, where they had long days of flow. They had very heavy flows. I knew some friends who had to get an IV drip sometimes because they would lose so much blood. So it's quite a struggle. It affects you physically, it affects you mentally, it affects you psychologically as well. You know, there's a lot of fatigue that takes place closer to those dates, something that I felt as well when I was going through my cycle. So yeah, no, I didn't feel weird about it. I think, you know, luckily I was empowered enough where I felt that if I needed time off, if I wasn't feeling up to it, I would take the time off. But I can understand in a more sort of conservative or a stricter work situation where you can't take time off. Women are just expected to deal with it and continue doing what they need to do. They don't get as much support possibly as they should. My go-to hygiene hack when I'm on the move is never sit on any surface. You have to learn to hover. I think that's something that girls are taught from a very young age, just to sort of, you know, prevent the transfer of any infection or germs or, you know, whatever it is. I think brilliant hack that is. Just like there is not enough information when a young girl is starting on this journey, I don't think there is enough information or people who can impart as much knowledge about perimenopause and menopause. I myself, I think I learned it all the hard way. I had no idea what any of it was, what to expect, what the symptoms were, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. It's you know, it's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle. I wish that there will be more people that either write about it more, gynacs can mention it, you know, start talking about it. I believe you start going through perimenopause pretty much from around the age of 35 onwards, 10 to almost 15 years before you actually hit menopause. And that is something I found out only a few years ago. Had I known that that is what was happening to me, I think I would have been in a better sort of state of mind, or I would have asked for help or found out a little bit more about, you know, what I should be doing for myself. Perimenopause has been quite a joyride. I have had many of the symptoms. I've had hot flashes, I've had weight gain, I've had mood swings, I've had severe fatigue, I've had a frozen shoulder. It's an amazing phase as well, because I think women, we need to embrace every phase that we go through. So, and I'm trying to do that. Fortunately, I found people now that have given me insight, are able to help me on this journey to navigate it better and a little bit more sanely. So I reached out to my gynecologist at that time, and this is almost 4 or 5 years ago. And literally my conversation with her was, save my kids from their mother. Because I was such an angry person. I was an angry mom. I was so irritable. I was so exhausted. I was so snappy, you know. My mood swings were like a pendulum, just, you know, in any second it could go in any way. And that's when, you know, the conversation about menopause and perimenopause started. I was put on supplements that helped. I think even talking about it and then reading up further about it helped me to understand what I was going through. And then obviously I started talking about it with my husband, and I told him, I said, I'm not going crazy, but this is what's happening to me. So he was very supportive, and it helped a lot that, you know, I could talk to him about these things, and he helped me. He, you know, he would try and keep me a little bit more comfortable, or manage the kids a little bit more, and give me the support that I needed when I was feeling all of these very, very strong emotions. I think you come first. As women, we need to think that, feel that, and then put it into action. Inherently, as women, we are programmed to be nurturing, so we always will put ourselves last. We will always think of, you know, the family first, the kids first, the house first, whatever needs to get done. That, you know, we fall very far down on the list of people that we need to take care of. Again, myself included, I've realized that if I'm not okay, nobody around me is going to be okay. Everybody is going to be affected by my mood. So if I'm tired, if I'm irritable, if I've not slept enough, you know, it's going to affect all my relations around me. So I sleep when I want to. I sleep for as long as I need to. When it comes to work, again, you know, I think I'm fortunate enough where I can decide how much work I do, considering the line of work I'm in right now, which is content creation. I take the breaks when I need it. I shut down, I stay at home, you know, I'm in my pajamas, watching Netflix and taking it easy. That's what you need to do sometimes. I think it would be a no-brainer. I mean, it wouldn't even be a thing that would need to be discussed. I think those days of the month would just be mandatorily given an off to a man to go home and rest and, you know, get over it and finish the cycle and come back to work. I think that's what would happen. Yeah. I said what I said. I feel the menstrual cup is a great idea, especially in a country like India, simply because the number of people living in this country, imagine the landfills of napkins on that level. So the menstrual cup, we need to talk about it a little bit more. We need to bring it out in the conversations, because even when I heard about it, I had so many questions. And luckily I had a girlfriend who was already using it, and she's like, ask me whatever you need to ask. And I did, and I got the information, because it was like, I was like, how do you even put that in place? How do you pull it out? How long do you keep it for? Is it safe for you? How does it work? And all of those questions of mine were answered, and I think that's what we need. We need more women to talk about their bodies, normalize this, because it is the most normal thing in the whole world. You know, getting your cycle. It's a conversation that needs to happen a lot more freely, more openly, without the taboos it comes with. I think we need to move away from all of that. Yeah. You know, so because I had my kids a lot later in life, very late. I was 36 when I had my first child. I was 40 when I had my second one. And it was when I was pregnant with Caden, my second son, geriatric pregnancy was referred in relation to me, and that, you know, it's just not something that I probably thought about till that point, which was like a wow. The body is an amazing thing, you know. You go through so much as women, the entire sort of phases of your life, which I think would be broken down to almost 4 or 5 different phases if you think about it. Incredible. We need to just be a little bit more forgiving of, you know, how we are expected also to come back and bounce back. I gained weight and it was okay. I lost it, some of it, and that was okay. The journey has been amazing. So long as you are happy mentally, I think it reflects in your physical as well. I think I'm going through that right now because the shift has happened for me from being perimenopausal to being menopausal, and I'm in between at this point, so it's a lot. There's a lot of things that I'm unable to understand, the shifts that are happening, the hormonal changes that are happening, you know, what supplements I need to take, my diet needs to change, things that were working for me earlier with how do I control my weight is not working anymore. So there's a lot that I'm reading about, that I'm talking about to people that can give me a little bit more clarity on this. So physically, I'm going through a lot of changes in my body, and I'm trying to adapt as gracefully and elegantly as I can. Like I said, I think, you know, we need to talk about this. I think the stigma and the taboo about it needs to be removed. Women who have the reach or the power or the platform, we need to come out and we need to talk about this. We need to let other women know, the younger women know, that it is okay. Fortunately, there are platforms now. There's social media, or there's, you know, the internet that provides the answers. But sometimes you may have even sort of more intimate questions to ask, and those can be answered by people who are caregivers, who are, you know, specializing in these topics, in these categories. It's very important to talk about this. So every time this video is shared, Sirona will donate a menstrual cup for someone in need. Isn't that amazing? The fact that you can share this video and somebody else will get a menstrual cup will help them flow with dignity.